Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Glassman's World. I'm Dan the Glassman, and we're about to get started. Gonna make just a few items for today. Nothing real fancy or anything. Just gonna make some making mushrooms mostly, and maybe some spirals, and just a couple simple items. That way, I have everything I need for for today. So I was personally invited to go and be a part of an open house tonight at our daughter's school. So it's going to be, like the open house and probably be giving the report cards and things like that. And so I'm really excited to be able to be a part of this. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go because I should also be a part of the whole open house, the orientation, and like, what they're talking to the parents about and things like that. So we'll see how I can make this happen. And it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to set me up indoor, which is also going to be kind of interesting because I normally have my 10 by 10 canopy to set up on my glass. And usually that is what I use to rope people off so they can't get anywhere near the flame and they can all gather around me to watch. So I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go or what. Um, it may be better to put me outdoor so then people can just surround my entire booth and tent and just have me directly in the center instead of up against a wall or in a corner to where you only will have like two sides of viewing. So we'll see how it all goes. It's going to be quite interesting. But I get there, gosh, I guess it starts around 4:30, so I'm going to have to get there probably about 3:30. I pick up our son at 2:30, so pretty much right away I'm going to get him home, and at 3 o'clock I'm going to be breaking down everything. I do have a yard job today, so I don't really have much time this morning, besides just making what we can and getting some stuff made right now. So let's actually get some glass made here. Let's get my table back in order. I kind of moved things and rearranged some things here for some demos. That's the one thing, is doing live demos. It's not the easiest thing for me to do because I have to tear down my whole entire table here and move things around, and it kind of just, destroys the flow of stuff. But I took my stuff out for last, when was that, Saturday, and I didn't have to bring my whole torch out and everything. I just had to bring out my glasses and my equipment, so like my pad, my hand tools. I gotta wipe this off, it's kind of dusty. Always want to make sure that all the dust and things off your stuff. That way you don't put any dust and dirt on the hot glass. All right. Uh-oh. I just blew out the flame there. All right, give me 1 second here. Gotta do a little something real quick. So, the school that my daughter goes to, it's an art school. So it's really cool that I get to bring my glassblowing into the students there and give them a whole new option in life as far as what they can do for a living, what they can do as they grow up. I'm not saying when they grow up, because I'm still growing up. I'm almost 50 and I'm still growing up. So it's not when you grow up. What are you going to be when you grow up? It's what are you going to be as you grow up? What many things are you going to be as you grow up? Right? So I'm hoping to inspire these kids as best as I can. And it's really cool to be a part of this. me just grab the rest of my tools and things that I need. Always need the glasses, always need the tweezers, paddle. Gotta have the paddle. Got some smaller rods of glass here we can use. Got some other glass on my table here we can use. Okay, so I know I definitely need some blues. I need purples. I think that's a blue. Let me make sure. Okay, yeah, that's a blue. So that's a cobalt. We got our purples in here. We definitely need to make some orange. And I think we got reds and yellows, and we got greens. So maybe a darker green though. Probably need a darker green. Alright. And maybe we'll use this jade green. Okay, this is the green that I gave to Joey Unser. He was like, dude, I love that. Let me try that out. It's a jade. So if you're watching, Joey, jade green is what I lent you that day. Or lent you. Can I get that stick back? I didn't lend it to you. I let you have it. That'd be funny. Hey, you done with that? Can I get it back, please? It's all melted into someone's pipe. Like, yeah, sure. Let me just go and unmelt it out. Alright, so we got less than an hour. Oops. I also messed that up, didn't I? I was timing myself and then didn't time myself right. Okay, let's do this again. So it's almost Christmas, guys. Just want to remind you all, everyone who watches this video, anyone who supports me, follows me on my many different social media sites, including YouTube here at the Glassman's World, you all are invited to get an exclusive offer of buy one, get one free on all my glass. Last week was the first time I kind of posted it up for the public to see. Just wanted to kind of see if it would change anything with sales and stuff. But get your orders in. If you guys want any custom glass orders, now is the time to get them in. If you don't get them in now, I can't guarantee shipping them out. I think, like, actually, gosh, we may already be past the whole getting them shipped out in a proper, timely fashion. So I'm not 100% sure on what we can do about that. Let me mute this video. Let me bring up the video here and we'll start working here in just a second. And let me not lose my heat this time. I have to reheat that again. All right, you guys, let's get started here. Get my glasses on. Always got to make sure we're wearing our safety glasses here. Let's bring it back into the torch. Let's make sure you guys can see and watch. Alright, so we're simply just going to pull some stringers here real quick and just get a couple things ready. So first things first, we're going to get the stringers. Stringers are basically just getting our color glass molten. The glass melts at um, about 2100 degrees. It probably starts getting molten a little bit before that, but it really gets like liquefied around 2100 degrees. So you just get a chunk of that molten, grab it with your tweezers, and then just give a nice slow pull, a nice controlled pull. If you pull it too fast, the glass will thin out and get real skinny. If you pull it too slow, it'll stay too thick. So it's all in the practice on knowing how much. Usually a lot of glass blowers will pull this very end tip off. I personally like to just stretch it out and not waste that little knob of color there. So there's one stringer. Oh, that one kind of has a stringer already. We'll just pull it from the back end of the stringer here. So this might actually have like a thinner part or a thicker part. Try to keep that heat away from the real thin glass so we don't stretch it, overstretch it, and make it too thin. Dang, I need to get me some new tweezers here. These things are not grabbing at all. You see that? They're not even flat anymore. They don't grab. I don't know how I still use them. But good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. I'm Dan the Glassman. We're here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're working on some mushroom pendants right now. And these are basically just a simple pull stringer. You force the colored stringer into a piece of molten clear glass. The color stringer will go into the clear glass as deep as it's molten, and then once it hits the part that it's not molten, it has nowhere else to go. So then it kind of just backs out into itself and implodes in there, and basically it's like it's like an explosion. Like, you know how the explosion clouds, you know, like if you had like the atomic bomb go off or something, that mushroom cloud would form, right? And it forms because of the atmospheric pressure. Once the clouds hit that pressure, it really can't push up through anymore, has nowhere else to go in, and then it starts to billow and create that the mushroom on top, or the mushroom cloud. And that's exactly how I make my jellyfish too, is building up the tentacles, you know, having a center tentacle, which is just like a piece of colored glass inside of clear glass that's twisted to look like a ribbon cane twisted inside of the clear glass, completely embed it, and then made it small enough to where you can then grab the tentacles, draw them on there, add a little bit of color onto the tip, and form that into a jellyfish instead of a mushroom. Because a jellyfish is basically like a moving underwater mushroom, I guess. The shaping of it is, at least. It's not a mushroom. A jellyfish is not a fungi. Well, they could be fun guys, but not a fungi. Cool. Alright, and then some cobalt. We definitely want some cobalt. And I don't know how many of these we're going to make. Maybe 3 of each. Usually I try to make 5 of each. But I don't have too much time this morning. I only have about an hour before I got to get my son to school. and get him up and get him ready and stuff. I should have just jumped on a torch like 2 hours ago, but I was still a little bit tired, slowly waking. I was watching the news and stuff. Local news here in Albuquerque, they're changing up the state fair, and they just got provided millions of dollars in funding to move on with the next phase of development for the Expo New Mexico. I think our fair is moving, guys. It's been there since what, 1937, 39, something like that. And they're gonna relocate it. Alright, there we go. Let's just start busting these out. So to make a mushroom pendant, we'll do kind of a little tutorial here. We pull the stringer. So stringer is basically just gathering up your glass. So you gather your colored glass and then you just pull it with a tweezer. And you keep that nice and straight. It's like pulling a rope. And you want to pull it nice and taut and just, you know, pull it. And then that creates a nice straight stringer. But you also want to be spinning, that way it doesn't have any sort of a droop as well. So then once you have your colored stringer, then you get your clear glass and you put your clear glass in the flame, you introduce it to the flame, you start to get the tip of it molten, right? And then you start to build that up, you start to gather the tip of that glass into the rod itself. And as it gathers, it'll start to grow, get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. If you hold it at a more angled, where your hand is lower than the tip of the glass, and the glass will fall down onto itself, it'll start to build up into like a round marble on the tip of the rod. The longer you hold it here, the bigger it'll grow and get. So we only need it to be that molten right there. Once it's that molten there, you get your colored glass. I like to preheat the tip of the color, just like that. And that'll help to spread out the color. You get this molten, you put that right in the middle, hold it there for a sec. 1, 2, 3, push. Make sure you push it directly in the center, spinning your clear glass in your left hand while you're just slowly pushing the blue or the stringer a little bit at a time, and just get it in there. Cut it off at the bottom. You make sure you leave a little bit of colored glass sticking out right there. You put the flame directly above the mushroom cap on the clear glass, and you allow that heat to penetrate in. I'm going to tighten up my flame some, add a little bit more oxygen. And now this is going to allow for the clear glass that's around the color stringer in there to just fall down onto it, and it's going to pinch the air bubble out from the center. And as long as you don't move too closely to the end and pinch the air, you don't want to trap the air inside. So you want to slowly walk the air bubble out. And we're talking like 0.5 millimeter at a time that we start moving it. Once you can see the mushroom stem attach itself to the clear glass, and only you'll be able to see that when you're wearing the didymium glasses. But then you can see how it moves down, and the stem is thicker where it touches that clear glass, and it's thinner underneath it, and you'll see how it walks its way out. When you're actually on a torch and you're blowing glass, you'll be able to see how that works. And then you just get to the bottom, you round out any sort of bumps or knobs or nubs, anything from the colored glass and the clear, you get both of those perfectly nice and rounded. And then at this point, you could do other things like flatten the back, or you can add color to the bottom. There's so many things at this point you can do. We're just going to keep this as a nice, simple $5. The original $5 mushroom, which you can find on Facebook. You go to facebook.com/the-original $5 mushroom, or the original mushroom. I don't know what we call it. I know the page is called The Original $5 Mushroom, but I know on my URL you can't have a $sign in there, so I don't know what I put it as. I'll try to find that link and then post it up in the description and in the comments below. So these I've kept for $5 ever since I started blowing glass in 1995. These were the first items I ever learned how to make, was pushing a mushroom. Well, besides just gathering the glass on the very end. But pushing a mushroom is probably the first thing I ever learned how to make and mass produce. So now as I'm spinning it, allowing that stringer that I just pulled to kind of set up some, I don't want it to be super molten. I want it to be a little bit stiff. Oh, I need my reamer. And then we just form the loop. Use the reamer tool here. It's just like a carbon graphite pencil, basically, or it's a tool to just help keep your ends rounded, or your loops rounded. I don't know if I use this for anything else besides just loops. Maybe other types of shaping, but really just for this. Alright, and then that's a done piece then. Grab my tweezers. And then you just flame kiss the bottom. So I'm going underneath the flame to just hit the bottom part, going on top of the flame to hit it, and that way I can melt just that point right there in order to round it. Alright, we'll make a couple more of these. We'll do like 2 more, I guess. I'm thinking 3 at a time. And that should give me enough to make, or to have for sale in case. I'm thinking I'm going to need $5 items for tonight. And then I'm also doing the whole buy one, get one free. There's going to be parents there, so they may want to purchase some items for their kids. They may want to get some early Christmas gifts, you know, like, here you go. You can get this. This is an early Christmas present. We'll get it for you tonight. You can wear it now and for Christmas. I will try to demo some Christmas trees there. I think that'll be fun to do. So then once you get that molten, you get your stringer, get the tip all molten. I hold it in there just for a second. That kind of gets it all heated up, and then I push it in. And I do believe that helps to cap out my mushrooms really, really nice. And then I'll spin the glass, and every time after I spin it, then I'll give a little bit more of a push, then spin it, then give that blue glass a little bit more of a push. But you don't want to push it to the point where it's like it's solid and then that little stringer can break off, because then you can accidentally stab yourself or touch yourself and burn yourself with it, or you know, or just break the stringer. Then you have to pull another stringer. Alright, so now we're gonna just melt this down. And like I said, we're just doing some real quick, simple mushrooms. Guys, if you have any questions while you're watching, please feel free to hit me up in the chat here. We got the live chat going. Anytime that I work, I'm usually just live here. That way I can just document everything that I've ever made pretty much. So sometimes my videos might be boring because there is no real subject topic or anything, and then sometimes I may go way off in the deep end and start talking about all kinds of things that people may consider as conspiracy theorists or whatever, but I promise you I'm not conspiring with anyone about anything. We're simply talking about those who do conspire with each other behind closed doors and create rules and laws and regulations and restrictions. Those are the true conspirators. They conspire together all the time. That's my theory. But yeah, I'll keep this one here just to the glass and talking about the demo today. So I'm real excited about this demo. This is going to be the first time that I've ever done a live demonstration inside of a school. And this is going to be the first time I've ever done anything like this for my children. I'm trying to think, like, my firstborn actually just turned 30 years old, guys. I don't know if you can believe that or not. I have a 30-year-old. I'm almost 50, but I can still punch and kick and punch. I'm 50. But yeah, I'm trying to remember if I ever did any live glassblowing demos for my oldest child long ago. I'm like, I don't remember. I do not believe so. I started blowing glass in 95. It took me a year until I was really comfortable with what I was making and perfecting my loops. That was one thing that I spent like a whole year just making sure that my loops on my jewelry were my pendants. They just came out really, really nice and strong, very durable, long-lasting. Because the first loops that I was making, they were super skinny and not set very well. And they would break. And then I realized, if you have a loop that breaks off, you can't just add another loop. Like I used to be a metalsmith. I used to be a jeweler. I used to do gold and silver rings and necklaces and, different things like that before I got into glassblowing. Somehow, fortunately, I've had an amazing life where I've had all these cool opportunities, being able to do these different things. And when I was like 18, no, I think I was 19. I was 18 going on 19 because that was when my firstborn, when my child was actually born way back then, 30 years ago. And gosh, I can't believe it's been that long, 30 years. I totally got sidetracked just thinking like, wow, I have a 30-year-old. I've been a parent for 30 years. I don't know what I was talking about. I was a gold and a silversmith, and I've had these really cool experiences in life somehow. But yeah, I can't remember doing live glassblowing demos with my firstborn child in any of the schools or anything. What's cool is that our daughter's now going to the same school that my firstborn went to when they first opened up. And that's pretty cool. All right, there's 2 down and however many to go. I just got to keep going until it's about 7:15. So I don't know, like maybe another 20 or 30 minutes. So we'll see how many of these I can get done here. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more videos on me going live. Usually, like I said, anytime I'm in the studio, I'll go live. However, there's times when I'm in here and I'm just working and I'm just watching like YouTube videos and or just watching other things and checking out other stuff. And I'm not live, so I'm not always live. You don't get to see me work, all the time. And a lot of times I'll just go live for an hour, and then I'll shut down the video, and then I'll continue working. And a lot of times, the glass will just accumulate throughout the week if I don't have anywhere to go and set up and vend. Usually I don't vend until Sundays. So I only vend on Sundays, really. Every once in a while I might do another event like tonight, or I'm going out. It's a special request. I was really happy about this. The way that this turned out was because of the Twinkle Light Parade that just happened a couple weekends ago. And I was trying to find out if the school wanted to get involved and host us and have a little market and have me doing some live glassblowing demos there. And they were saying, well, the property that we had in mind, I guess I thought that it belonged to the school, but apparently it doesn't belong to the school anymore. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's just completely out of the question with doing it with the school. I mean, we could have went rogue style and just set up right there in that empty lot, and I don't think anyone would have said anything. But I wanted to do something with the school, and then maybe even like host some sort of a market where we could have like all the students host their artwork, being that this is an art school, and they could like have their art stuff and maybe even like set up a booth or something like that to where they could have some of their stuff for sale. But we're talking young kids and art students who may not be thinking about this. This could actually be a course that could be taught, is the entrepreneurship of being an artist, of working in, like how do you now that you know the skills, how do you apply them, right? Now that you can make all this glass, how do you get out there and acquire accounts? How do you sell to the public? How do you make a sale, period? How am I going to sell these 3 pendants that I've just made? By being invited personally to set up. I'm going to be the only one there. I'm the only outside individual who's been invited to do a really cool live demo for the parents and all the students and the teachers as well. This is going to be a really awesome opportunity. And, this is the first year that my child's going to this school. Our daughter. And this is an awesome opportunity to have happened. So because we couldn't collaborate for the Twinkle Light Parade, and I ended up setting up elsewhere, and I just had my on-screen demonstrations and not live glassblowing demos. If I don't bring my torch out, which is very difficult to tear everything down, that's the one thing I'm going to have to do today, is when I set up. Possibly, I may not. I actually have I got a second torch, and I might just take that second torch, but I have not even used it. So I don't even know if it's 100% legit, safe, if it even works, if the regulators are good on it, So I may just tear down my whole studio again today, one last final time, before actually just utilizing this new torch. But I may have time to just, I might just take it and set it up. And if it's fine, then that's awesome. And then I can just use that one. Because the hardest part about tearing down all this is I have to then, I got to remove everything. I got to take everything off the table here so I can use the hardy backer. But I have a stainless steel plate that I can use. So I'm thinking instead of the hardy backer, I can just take that. All right, let's move on to another blue here. We got a few more minutes to go still. So I'm real grateful. I'm thankful that the principal reached back out to me. He said that we couldn't do the Twinkle Light Parade then, which was like December 5th or something around there. But he said, let's stay in touch and maybe we could do something later on. And he actually told me to get back in touch with him a little bit, like, towards the beginning of this month, and I completely forgot about it. I'm pretty sure he had this in mind of me setting up at the open house. But then also, being that we're both super busy, he's also forgotten to send me an email. So a day ago, not yesterday, but the day before, as I'm picking up my daughter, he talked to me and he's like, hey, so I wanted to see if you wanted to come out here on Wednesday. So that was on Monday. I'm like, oh, like I actually don't have oxygen right now, but if I can get the oxygen situation set up, then yes, I can definitely do demos. And then when I picked her up yesterday, he wasn't there. So I didn't even get to talk to him and confirm it. So this morning, I'm going to go there. I'm going to drop off my daughter, and I'm going to just take a quick look and see where they kind of had me in mind. I don't know. We might need to go a little bit early today. That way I can go speak to the principal and make sure everything is good to go for the day. So a few other events that are happening coming up soon. I got invited to another event. I don't know if I'll be able to blow glass here or not. At Juno, which is a local bar, a local club here. And they have a really awesome patio, and I believe that we're going to be set up out there. There's going to be some live music. It's some sort of a showcase or something. I believe they do this like a variety showcase. They have different individuals who come out. And I wasn't asked to perform, but I was asked to come out and be a vendor, which is really cool. It's actually been a long time since I've performed live in front of a crowd, and have have had a full set list all ready to go. There was a time about a year and a half ago when we performed. We set up a simple little canopy out in front of our friend's business on Central for Summerfest. And then we played some songs there, but it wasn't like we were booked to perform. I wasn't getting paid to perform. It's been a really long time since I've been, on a flyer and paid to perform and actually part of the lineup to a show. That might change. maybe for 2026, I might come back out, start performing again. I don't know. Then at the same time, I get this weird thing that, like, as a performer, like, sometimes I feel like I'm just looked at like a performing monkey, you know, like it's expected of you. And then, you know, like sometimes when you're performing at a show, you don't have the attention of everyone. Everyone's just like talking to each other, and just like you're just like the background ambient noise or music or whatever, you know. So I don't know. Sometimes it's interesting to me to be a performer and go perform these acts for individuals. Sometimes I'd rather just perform for individuals who really, really love my music and just like, you know, just want me to come out like, hey, you want to come perform at my Christmas party? Come have some dinner, some cookies, and just bring your guitar. We'd love to hear a few songs. That's always fun. Being able to perform for small crowds, more intimate crowds. But then it's a little bit more nerve-wracking that way too. Because then you're like in front of like individuals that you know, people you've grown up with, or co-workers, or I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic compared to performing for larger crowds where pretty much like the whole crowd is blended out. Everyone's blended into each other. All right, it's 7:10. I think I only got time to make, I don't know, like maybe one or two more. But like I said, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to be getting our son ready for school here. And in between times, I may just like come back on here and just make one or two real quick. And then when I get back, I'll have to wait. I'll have another like 45 minutes before I have to get our daughter to school. But then, like I said, I might go early so I can scout out possible locations on where I will be set up for the open house tonight. And it's only from like, what, 4:30 to 7? So like right at 4:30 is the orientation, and they'll be talking to all the parents and stuff. And then after that is when everyone will be able to go walk around the school and check out the different classes. So maybe instead of like butting in on that, maybe what we'll do is at the very end, like between 6:30 and 7, we'll do, I don't know, I'm not sure. Well, I'll just talk to them. We'll see. Maybe they want me to be going the whole time. That way when people are walking by, they can stop and view. The only thing is once people know that I'm there blowing glass, everyone's going to want to be there. So they better make sure that I probably need to be in the courtyard. They mentioned putting me like in the front area, in the office area. I'm like, probably not. I don't know. It's going to get a bit crowded there with all the students and the parents and the teachers. And maybe I'll stay a little bit longer for those teachers who are like stuck in their classrooms and they want to have the opportunity to see me blow glass. And maybe I'll just stay there till like 7 or 7:30. Also, I might not be able to. They might only have the building for a certain time and have to rush me out, and I might have to like try to tear everything down more quick, more faster than I've ever turned down before. And so, in order to do this demo, I actually went out and got an extra oxygen tank for specifically for today. So I'm renting it at like $3 a day. I might keep it throughout the weekend. We're definitely going to use it up and use all the oxygen because I paid for the oxygen. But I might do some live demos on Saturday in Nob Hill. Possibly even set up for Sunday. We'll see. We'll see how much pressure I have in the tank after today. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be going for the entire 2 hours today. All right, so this will probably be the last one here. Just got to make sure our sun is up. So I'm going to let you guys go. But thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I'm really excited about today's demonstration. You know, hopefully this will open up to more opportunities like this, which is really amazing. And, you know, maybe this can even turn into something to where if I can find a studio space, maybe I can start hosting workshops specifically for students as a different alternative career path, you know, and teaching them the ins and outs of glassblowing and entrepreneurship, how to sell your glass, how to find clients, creating, you know, making cold calls in person or on the phone, you know, calling up individuals, simply starting with like going through well, we don't have a phone book anymore, but, you know, going through a Google listing of jewelry shops, bead shops. If you're making paraphernalia, then look up those kind of shops. You know, if you like, for me, I make glass balloons, so I have to look up hot air balloon specialty stores and places like that, and the Balloon Museum and the International Balloon Fiesta itself, and like all these things. You know, for my jellyfish, I have to look into how do I get them into the Albuquerque Aquarium gift shop again. That's one thing that I'm working on, and I'd like to actually do. Maybe we could use that as a way of showing how to actually get a client. But there you go, guys. I wish I could keep these glowing like this. Isn't that beautiful? It'd be amazing if we could keep them glowing. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. I wish that we had some individuals come in and do a live chat, but no worries. Comment below when you watch this later on, once it's up and running. And let me know if you have any custom orders. And remember, if you're local or even if you're ordering through this video or any of my social media, remember, it's all buy one get one free on all my glass until the end of this year. So up until 2026, all buy one get one free. Get your orders in and come and buy your glass as much as you want. All right. You guys have a beautiful day. I'm out.